Hello everybody, this is Show here. Now then, whenever we last left off, we had a bit of a predicament. All Might is currently going through surgery. While that is going on, let us pick up with our Chaco, Kendo, and Momo in the red zone. They are hunting down and actually taking out quite a bit of people, as you can say. They're taking down standardized infected, along with some actual monsters. The hunters, the hydras, the behemoths, and some actual juggernauts. The juggernauts, they are annoying to handle, but if they all team up and work together, they can handle them fairly easily. The behemoths, they're a challenge even then. Kendo launching off the ground with the muscles in her legs, she's able to at least come up high enough and make her fist big enough to smash the behemoth into the ground, and at least work on taking it down. While Momo's, she's actually able to weaken and actually take it out by just creating blades out of her arms or any part of her body she needs to and slashing through it with ease, making it out of this bio-organic metal that they make from their body. So, another thing. While that is going on, Momo, she's talking with Uraka, asking her exactly how this been going. But they have a little bit of a problem. Now, they are still fighting with the behemoth, as it would come bring its arm upwards to come smash down at them. As it would do so, someone would intervene. As Uraka, she would have gone to bring her hands upward to try and block it, but someone jumped in the way. It's someone wearing armor. They're holding back the behemoth's hand as Uraka would get up, jumping over it immediately and starting to rip out the muscles and anything she can to take it down. Eventually, she would have pulled out enough muscle, or at least enough tendons in its arm, to make the hammer too heavy, as it is basically stuck there trying to pull it away. As whenever it would yank enough, eventually it would rip the hammer free from its arm, to which this masked figure would run in and jump straight into the behemoth's gut, as he begins to tear away at it. Now, eventually the behemoth would have been dead, as Uraka and everyone would have walked over. They would have consumed what they needed from it, and taken samples from it. As this figure is looking at them, they would just ask exactly who he is, as he would take off his mask, or take off the armor, showing that he is the fake Deku, which surprises everyone. Before he can even bring up his hands to speak, Uraka would have immediately just ran over and hugged him, asking exactly where has he been, and she's so happy that he's back. To which he just kinda is confused by. He would say that he's been in the hive. As Uraka would immediately pull away, realizing this is the fake. She would just say that she's sorry, but it's just, I kinda don't understand very well. But I've at least been able to figure it out. Now, I know I'm not him, but I can at least help you guys out. What do you mean? Well, I'm not sure how he would feel, but if I knew there was another version of me getting needles and basically being turned into a human guinea pig, I'd want to destroy everyone involved and take them down. I'm not sure if that's him or me. As they somewhat watch him look down at his hands, he would just say that he can take Deku's place for a little while, or he can cause some damage and mayhem, and try and get sent to the same facility. But that's going to be where it's going to be a bit different and tricky. he's somewhat discovered a new thing, as they're a bit confused. He would say there's not much to do in the hive besides train, so he's been going to active ones with his armor on, or at least wearing a different face. So, he actually did go back into the town they were in before, and he met somebody. They were a bit paranoid until they tried to attack him. Apparently, they have a certain ability which almost cost him his life. As he says that, he would have immediately just used it, as they would watch him turn invisible. Huh? No, don't get this confused. I'm just blending into whatever's behind me. I'm not sure what they called it, but I just call it chameleon. So, exactly what are you going to use this for? Oh, well, I've been using it to stay hidden, and whenever I do keep my face on, using it actually is helpful. I've somewhat been able to get in, well, go into public. Now, as he gives the explanation, saying that they need help, he can provide it. As they would continue, Uraka, Momo, and Kendo getting them all caught up on the explanation, as let's cut over to the villain's base with Kirishima. Kirishima, he opens the door as he looks in, asking if she's okay now, to which you have Mina, who is staring down at this man. He's been hurt for quite a while, but he hasn't moved a single muscle. Why is that? Well, you pump enough of this into him, as he would hold up a vial, saying that they somewhat do that. So, eat and then we'll talk. To which he closes the door, checking in on the others. Jiro, she's actually consumed her prey already, but it's just... she's a bit disgusted with herself, as she's just hiding in a corner. Well, Kaminari, he's a bit reluctant. He's just sitting down completely in front of the door, all the way across the room. Anytime Kirishima goes to open the door, Kaminari just decides to shoot it, frying his brain in the process. So he's been too stupid to at least eat. Now, this is whenever he would open up Jiro's cell, telling her that she's at least done well. Our boss isn't here, but he would be at least proud. As Jiro would walk over to Kaminari and look at him for a second. Before Kirishima can even continue, this is whenever Jiro would open her mouth and scream, as Kirishima gets hit with a full brunt of the sound attack, going to head for the door. As soon as he does so, this is whenever Kirishima, he would have at least gotten up off the ground and turned around enough to shoot his hand out, grabbing her with his own whip, as he would have pulled her back in, telling her that that's not easy. Now, look through the man's memories, can you? Huh? Listen. Like it or not, you're one of us now. Anyways, you're also presumed missing and or dead. So even when they do find you, what's going to happen? They're going to take you to a lab and lock you up, and use you as a test subject. Do you want to know how willing I am to put my life on that? As he would make blades on his hands, scaring Jiro, bringing them up to his face, and hardening his skin. He just says that he's sure enough that his quirk can't at least counter his Blacklight, as he would throw his hand into his face, snapping the blades. She's a bit more confused as to why he did that. Him just saying that you kinda do that when the voices in your head won't shut up. Now, whenever you consume enough of them, they will be a bit overwhelming. 1 is easy, so is 2, so is 3. 4 is a little too much, and 20 is pushing it. But as he would turn around saying, when you get to 100, that's where things start getting a bit more crazy. Now, as that happens, let us cut over to the heroes. All Might, he's gotten out of surgery after 2 to 3 days. It's been a bit taxing on his body, but you can actually tell that he's gotten a lot better. After each surgery and time between them, you can somewhat see that his body's starting to heal, as you can call it. He does get a little bit, well, more healthy looking, but after it's all done and after it's all said and done, he does have the scar on his side. However, it's not decked in or anything. It's just visible as if it were an impact on his skin that left burns or sear marks. So, this is where, whenever All Might does wake up, he would try getting back into the action, straight off the bat, to which Sir Night-Eye and a couple of the doctors would have immediately tell him not to do so. The military would have informed All Might that him getting off his feet this early, it is bad. If you do so, you will most likely have a repeat injury. In fact, you might make this one worse, and actually die, or lose your quirk. To which All Might, he hesitates for a second before just sitting back down, telling them that they at least need to make sure he is not out of the action. So, he would just say that he has to make public appearances at least, to which they would tell him that they have that somewhat handled. They have an All Might impersonator taking on his role for a little while, to which he's confused. Them showing a picture. This impersonator has everything down to the simple details. The hair, the way his eyes turned after his injury, and even the muscle toning. This kind of impresses All Might, but he kind of finds it a bit weird. Superfans tend to go a little overboard, but they were at least made aware of what the situation was. So All Might's not technically out of the fight. Now then, while that's happening, Momo and everyone else, they got their fake samples, or the Momo, Uraka, and the fake, along with Kendo, they got the samples, and they brought them back to Overhaul. Overhaul, he would have actually been able to synthesize and actually create version 3 and version 4. Version 5 being a bit iffy. Because he wants to know how the previous two work, he has not tested or even tried making it yet. He still has to find the balance. Saying that this one has too much of it, this one has too little, but how did stage 2 go? To which Uraka would just say, stage 2 was a bit fun. Her abilities got boosted and she was actually able to call in 6 members of her pack. However, as she would just say that you kinda went a little crazy. So the high was too much. Got it. As Overhaul would hand over version 3 and version 4. To which they would go out and test them immediately. Except they don't test them out in the red zone, they test them in combat. Uraka walking into public one day, and people just staring at her, as she would have stabbed the needle directly into her arm, would boost her power, as she brings her hands upwards, stabbing them down into the ground, creating and immediately just destroying the entire area around her, as she would have thrown spikes throughout the air, and throughout the ground. This would have actually killed a couple pros and some civilians, as she would have consumed their biomass and the spikes back up. As she would have immediately left, while Kendo gets to try out version 4. With version 4, she actually does test it, but whenever she does so, she finds that she's a bit more unstable. Uraka, hers had a little too much less of this certain drug or component, while the one Kendo had about 10 times that. To which Kendo, she loses control, growing to the size of Mount Lady and kicking and destroying the buildings around her. As people would have watched her do so, she would have brought her hands upwards, throwing them down and actually creating an entire pathway of spikes pointing directly toward one side of the city, destroying an entire 2 to 3 city blocks in the process, and killing quite a few people, while revealing the location of certain infected hives to the public that the government were trying to keep under wraps. This would actually spark a lot of controversy because they didn't know the hives were actually in the city. They just thought they were in Aldrin. So this somewhat causes a bit of panic. But Kendo, she would have quickly come down because increasing her size made the drug somewhat smaller in her system. Now, she would have been taken back to base as they were talking, explaining the side effects of their drugs to each other, and overhaul, to where he tells them that version 5 will be perfect then. So, while they're doing that, he needs them to do one thing. Take themselves back to base and get your men, or your allies, ready. To which they would do so. The League of Villains is surprised to find that Deku is back. To which he would have just held up his hand saying that he's the fake, remember? Confusing twice for a second. He would just look around and ask him exactly what has he been doing, because he doesn't remember giving him these modifications. To which he would say that with the Blacklight virus, you can shift any part of your body, you just need to know how to do so. To which he would just do one thing, making his chin a bit bigger, moving his nose downwards, and changing his eye color. Saying you kind of become a master of disguise after you're left somewhere for a week. And you don't sleep. So. Exactly how much have you improved? Well, I've gotten more adept at my abilities, so it's not all that big of a loss. I've also gotten more durable, apparently. How durable? I was hit with a tank turret, smashed through a building, then socked in the gut. I think I also broke my nose, but that healed pretty fast. To which twice being completely in shock by. Realizing the potential of the Blacklight, being a little bit more interested in it. But that's not where our story is going to be going over to. Wow. Blech. Now then, this fake Deku, he would be waiting, as he would ask Momo exactly what their plan is going to be for getting the real one. To which they would say that it's quite simple. You're going to be going out with the shipment Overhaul is sending to his military contractors. He's able to make enough of version 5 to actually do some good. Now, you're going to sneak aboard the truck. We are going to be giving you a tracker. Once you get there, you have to just snap the tracker in half. After 10 minutes. That will be our cue to take down the base. Or whenever you notice something going on or the base go on lockdown, tell us. As she would hold up a phone saying that this will work. He would grab onto the phone, saying that he's got this covered then. But as he would walk over to the cells, saying exactly what they're going to be doing with them. As you would see Kaminari, Jiro, and Mina. They've actually already eaten, but they're still a bit more confused. They would have been told that they're a bit more iffy, so they're going to be coming with us to at least test their abilities. It should be simple since we have more control than they do. Besides, they're basically as strong as, well, normal people for now. A little above that, but not very much. So, this is where they are going to be doing their assaults. Overhaul, he would have modified and actually taken up enough version 5 to do something a little bit different though. He would have increased the amount of adrenaline it can send through Deku. Since knowing that Blacklight are a bit more resistant to that type of effect, he would have made these somewhat natural for the Berserker and the Alphas. So, he will at least be helping Deku out quite a bit. However, he's trying to think about a good plan after this. This might burn his bridges with the military contractors, but it might open up some new ones. As him being so close to the military right now and the hero organization, it's driven away some business. But if he actually does open these doorways back up by releasing the living virus, then that means he can actually build bridges to different places he couldn't get to before. So it at least all works out. Now then, the truck would arrive, as it would load up the shipment. The fake Deku hopping aboard and catching a ride, as the truck would leave with version 5. As we will cut over to Deku, the real one. Over the past couple weeks, he's just been feeling nothing. He can't open his eyes. He can't see. All he can feel is blistering pain and burning. But sometimes he can open them. However, whenever he does, whenever he goes to move his hands or moves his legs, he can't feel anything. They just feel like they're weighed down. But the scientists, they freak out anytime he opens them, so they just pump him full of something. He's not even sure what this is. But he does know one thing. From what he's been able to hear sometimes, they're mentioning Elizabeth by name, along with the other subjects. So they're trying to do something. They're trying to create something. Ochako might be in trouble. They may have gotten to her. But if it's Elizabeth they keep mentioning, did they catch her too? Or no, wait. Exactly what has been happening? As Deku would open his eyes once more. As he looks outwards, he sees Sir Night-Eye. He's just staring at Deku as he would just walk over to the console, telling the man to gas it, or at least contain it. As the man would start pushing the buttons on the console and then smashing down the protocols. Now, as the man smashed the button on the console, Deku, he's a bit more confused. His vision is turning white, and his body feels like it's on fire. The pain he feels is agonizing, as they are doing one simple thing. They're heating up the container enough to start killing the virus and boil Deku alive. But that's not it. They're also shocking it and tasing it, while pumping his system full of this experimental drug Overhaul gave them to nullify the Blacklight virus, or at least control it. These protocols were put into place, along with Midnight being there, as she's someone always smirks and laughs whenever this happens. As that is going to be where we leave things off of, guys. I do hope you enjoyed the video, and have an amazing day. Now, I may not be posting for a little while, because right now I have to go shower, then I'm going to be going to the store. Then I'm going to go get some stuff to make beef jerky. So, I do hope you guys understand. Anyway, guys, catch you guys later.